We are Gathering of the Geeks, podcast and YouTube show built around the things we as geeks all love. Hashtag we gather on Sundays. Thank you for checking out the one from column A and column B. I'm one of your hosts, Emmet, and I'm joined by the Ted Lasso and my coach Beard, Chris Evans. Chris, are you column A or are you column B?
I don't know. I'm a column.
Me neither. Yeah.
We're all columns. We are also Groot.
You know what? Those stupid things on Twitter. Choose a row or a column. Three from a row. I never know what a row is. Is a row this way or is a row that way? Which way does the column go?
I think it's usually horizontal. That's kind of when I hear row, I think horizontal. I think column though. To me, column is vertical. Row is horizontal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why that is.
Yeah, I always get confused.
Yeah, that's why I say that. Row, column.
Row, column. Got it.
Row your boat. Then you go forward.
Gathering of the Geeks is available on YouTube and wherever you get your fine podcast, people. So just search for us and you'll find us right there. Chris, are you a Samsung Android person or an iPhone person?
I'm a pillar of strength person. I'm an iPhone person. I like iPhone.
Like forever and ever and ever? First ever cell phone or not first ever?
Yeah, I think it was a Nokia, but yeah, iPhone is my phone of choice. I like Apple products. It might also just be because I'm used to them at this point.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever played with a Samsung or an Android phone before?
Yeah, my work phones are usually Android phones, and I hate them.
Mm-hmm. You sound like my wife. She hates when she has to use my phone. Well, she's an iPhone person, so
maybe it's just the ones that I use because they're really slow and I don't do much with them. I really just need them to dial and text. I have no use for anything else on that phone, so maybe that's the issue. If I were to mess with one, I would probably like it because I know they're basically the same thing. Just one can do more, which would be the Androids. They do more stuff.
So. What was your first cell phone? You said a Nokia there.
I think that was my first phone. I'm pretty sure it was a flip phone.
Was it a slide or a flip?
It was a flip phone.
Yeah, I had a slider. I forget what it was, but it slid up like kind of like the one that Neo has in the Matrix, where he holds it out and he goes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I had one kind of like that.
Those were cool. Did you ever have the one? Were they called sidekicks, where the screen would pop out and you had the keyboard?
Yeah, I think I had a girlfriend that had that one, where but it went like this, or just slid up, or like if you turn the
I think I remember one that used to just pop up.
Yeah. Okay.
Phones have come a long way. Remember having texting with an old phone was ridiculous.
Yeah, you gotta 1 2 3, and you gotta with your thumb and.
Yeah, and I had a friend then at the time, still one of my best friends today, who would really only text for a long time, and they would text using those old phones. And I look back on it now, and I'm just like, how? Why did we do this?
Yeah.
So just fun stuff.
Can you even get a flip phone anymore?
Yes, they still sell them. They're here in the U.S. They have these phones called Jitterbugs, or they made a service called Jitterbug. It's made for elderly people.
Okay.
And they are flip phones. Large buttons, easy to see.
The phone's this big. It
is a large phone.
It's a rotary phone.
You know what? I would love a mobile rotary phone. Have you ever used a rotary phone?
Yeah. We had one back in the day.
Yeah, they were. When my grandparents had one. I didn't know what to do with it, but I thought it was amazing when I was a kid. I just like to move the dial around. Just fun. But
do you still have a home phone?
No, I don't have a home phone. Do you?
No home phone here, just cell phones. But I don't even know if my mom has one anymore. I don't even know if her parents do either. But yeah, it's great. Where do you get a home phone? Do you call Bell, or what do you have? Bell, but what do you got? Virgin? Who does your phones down there? What do you got for
I had to think for a second. For home phones, we still have AT&T does home phones. Spectrum is a big cable brand here. I think there's one that's in the East Coast. I forgot what it's called. Something Com. I think they do phones. We got some comments about phones too.
Old cell phone comments here.
Yeah, these are gonna be fun. Ian says, coincidence, I went phone shopping yesterday. I'm going back to iPhone after years of Android. She's going with the new Samsung. Welcome home, brother. Hey, Cookie. Eric says he misses flip phones. They were fun. I liked them. I had a bunch of them, and they were hard to let go of. And Nokia had the Snake game, which at the time was monumental, because games on phones weren't a thing yet. So that was the only phone with a game, and Snake was really fun, even though it was basically just Tetris.
Yeah.
It says I had a brick size Ericsson phone that needed a belt holder to carry. Oh, you were that guy. Cookie said I had the Motorola Mint chocolate slide phones. That was my favorite ever. I forgot about those.
Mint chocolate.
Yeah, so they had these. They were called chocolate phones, and one of them I think was gold. Then they had one like Cookie says, the mint chocolate one. I think there was another one.
One of those ones. Yeah, see, that's a slide phone, right? Because I think that's what I see here. Yeah, I had one like that. I had that same kind of deal. The slide up phone.
My cousin was really into phones, and he had probably the weirdest cell phone I've still ever seen. It was like this, like a thin column looking thing.
A row or a column?
Column. Yeah, not column, because I guess it would be vertical. It was like a column, and it had no buttons. You had to do everything through this crappy little screen. But he thought it was the coolest thing ever, which it was cool, but functional. Like I don't understand how you'd function with that phone. In Japan, flip phones are called Okay, why is that?
Galapagos.
Yeah, why do they call them that? Because it's always funny watching TV and movies and TV from the 90s and early 2000s now where people use landlines. Yeah, it is, but it's kind of, I think maybe to our age group, it's still normal to see that. Whereas like when my kids see something like that, she's very confused.
Yeah.
Like, what
I
is
would agree
it?
with that. Yeah. Why is the phone attached to the wall?
Or like when you watch an episode of Saved by the Bell and Zach Morris has those really old cell phones that were bigger than your head.
Yeah.
Those old gray ones.
Gordon Gecko.
Oh, yeah. Or watch Wall Street and he's walking around with the briefcase. She needed with those.
like you're in Vietnam calling in an airstrike. You know? Right. The backpack with the phone on.
Niner, number 7
That's right.
on the horizon. I don't
know. That's it.
Burn the grass down, whatever. Nokia 7280 is the column one. That phone was crazy. So there was more than a column one. Or maybe that was it. Phones are fun. What phone do you have now?
I have a Samsung S21. It's a couple years old now. I like Samsung. After my flip phone, I started it with an iPhone 3, I think.
Okay.
And then I had a couple iPhones after that, and then I just made the switch. I can't even remember why I made the switch. I think I just like the screen better on the Samsung than the iPhone one. And now I can't go back. I can use an iPad, but I hate using an iPhone now. I can't do it. My brain can't. Like the buttons are just I can't do it.
It's like using a PC or a Mac. I think you get used to one and that's it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's my guess. I don't know. I like phones.
All right, Chris, what'd you get up to over the last week or two? We took last week off. So what's been going on? What you've been reading and what you've been watching?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what did I read? And I can't remember anything I've read. Other than...
there needs to be a comic letterbox.
There should be.
Somebody invent that app.
Well, I found that one app, but it wasn't the same.
No.
I read that Batman thing we were both interested in. The 3-week event for Joker Year 1. I finished that.
Right, the Joker Year 1, yep.
That I liked. But I think that it feels like there's a bigger story here with that particular thing they were doing. And they tried to cram it into 3 issues. And I also think that the future stuff in the past, they were each good enough to tell on their own. So combining them was also a choice. I would have preferred to see them separated and just told in whatever form. But as is, I think it was a really good time. I liked the art, although and I wanted to bring this up to you. There's kind of controversy regarding the Andrea Sorrentino stuff.
Really?
Yes, people seem to think it's AI.
What is?
Their art, they think their art is AI in this book, or it's AI assisted. Maybe I don't know
Oh, really? I didn't
because
see
of
that.
it has a very specific look to it, and like Batman looks identical to Ben Affleck. He looks like Batfleck. It's
So, like, you would have typed in like Batman, Ben
right.
Affleck, maybe. Like, that's
I
what people would
guess.
think.
Yeah, like
Oh, weird.
or even the Joker. Some of the art's just kind of bizarre with him. Like I'm really not
Mhm.
into the naked anorexic Joker with the robe thing
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
hiding in the water. Like I could deal with Joker in the toilet. That's fine.
Mhm.
But I think I'm drawing the line at Buffalo Bob Joker. Or Bill. Is it Bill?
It's Buffalo Bill. Yeah.
Okay, Buffalo Bob is from Joe Dirt. I always get the
Bob's
two
brother.
confused.
Okay.
Because they have the joke in Joe Dirt. Anyway. Um, yeah, I could do without Buffalo Bill Joker.
Hmm.
But anyway, yeah, people think the art is AI. Did you get that from it?
No, I did not at all. Maybe because I had my Andrea Sorrentino rose-colored glasses on,
Yeah, that
where
goggles.
I didn't look closely enough at it. But like, if people think he looks like Ben Affleck, like, have you read a
Well,
Tom
that's
King
that's
and
not the
Jared
only that's not the only thing. It's just an
Batman
example.
story? Oh,
But
okay.
they're just
Uh,
using that example because he looks identical.
hmm. I would have to go back and reread and focus more on that to see if that's true. If it is true, that sucks. But I don't see that to be the case. Um, I don't know. I hadn't thought about it, didn't read about it, didn't know about it. So
I think
not
it's
sure
just
if I.
their style.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's just the way they draw, and maybe people aren't used to it. And
Mm.
I think they did go a little maybe too specific in this case.
Mm.
And some of the art is I would say it's bigger than what I've seen them do before, but it feels a little different. I don't know.
That upsets me now if it's actually AI.
I don't think it
Jeez.
would. Well, I don't think it would be, but
Yeah.
that's what fans are thinking.
Yeesh.
I don't think they would use it, but still,
Hmm.
for what it's
Yeah,
worth, I like the art.
yeah. Well, that's good. So yeah, I think it's an interesting idea that it felt like two stories. Obviously, it is two stories, but mashed into three issues, into single issues each for each art and timeline. Maybe they should have extended it to 6 issues. Do you think?
Yeah,
Or kept even the present away from the past stuff and
I would
just
say
maybe
3 and 3
focused on
would
the
have been
past.
fine.
Right.
Yeah, that would have been okay.
That's fair.
But overall, I enjoyed it. My only issue with like real issue is that it has no impact on anything going on.
Yeah.
Like
It's
this did
particularly
not
really
matter.
when you read the next issue, it's like, what's the point? Why do we need to have a Joker Year One story?
Yeah, it has nothing to do with what's going on, and I know that. Like I don't even have to read the next one to know that this was
Yeah.
really for no reason.
Yes, exactly. It
This
wasn't
is,
for any reason other than to sell some comics, I think.
I think Chip just wanted to write Joker, and that's fine. But you
Hmm.
could have did this later,
Yeah. Yeah.
or did this instead of what you're doing. I think people would have been happier either way.
Hmm.
I'm not going to complain on it
Hmm.
because I do like it. Ian says it was an amazing week for comics, especially DC. Did you read anything DC this week other than?
This past week would have been Wonder Woman #6 that I read,
Mm-hmm,
uh, which is a really fun issue. A lot of action, a lot of Wonder Woman characters, villains particularly.
mm-hmm.
After this issue, they're taking a break for one, where they're doing I don't know, a backup story of some kind, and then
Wonder Woman Year
start.
One.
Yeah, written by Chip Zdarsky over 3 parts, and then starting up again at #8. So yeah, Wonder Woman #6. I loved. I've loved every issue so far. I didn't get around to reading Batman City of Madness #3 yet,
Mm-hmm.
but that was one from a couple weeks ago I wanted to get to.
Yeah,
Nothing
it's
else
fun.
from DC really.
Well, Ian liked World's Finest and Nightwing. I should check those out.
Yeah.
World's Finest is the one I started. I've started multiple times, and for whatever reason, I can't get into World's Finest.
Yeah, and I want to so badly. It's just like, all right, I'm gonna wait. Let's just wait until it's collected. I don't know if I can do it because I
Is
want
it?
to. All I hear about is great things.
Yeah, and it looks really good. I love Dan Mora.
Yeah,
but
Mark Waid
something
writing.
about it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
don't
and
know.
I don't know if it's ever going to end. Like, I think it's one of
I feel like it's a
DC's
bad
highest.
thing, though.
Yeah. I don't think it's. I think it's a very good selling book for DC. So I don't know. Like, it's already on issue 37 or 27. Sorry, or going to be on issue 27 is the latest solicit for
The
May
cover's
21st.
really nice.
Yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, I will constantly say it every time we talk about World's Finest. That yes, I want to read it. Yes, I want to get to it, but I don't know if I will.
It's on that list of things I will get to at some point.
Yep.
Some point I will.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think. Oh, I read the new Moon Knight, Vengeance of Moon Knight #2.
How's that going?
That was a couple weeks ago, though. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm enjoying that. The mystery of who Moon Knight is right now is pretty fun. Because at first I thought it was Mark. I don't think it's Mark anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, so don't know who it is. There's speculation it's probably Khonshu, which I don't really think that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why he would be moonlighting or moonnighting as his own
Moonlighting
avatar.
and moonlighting and moonlight.
Yeah, that's a mouthful. I don't think that theory works for me.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like, well, is it just gonna be a random dude? I don't know.
That would be weird if it was. They just create a whole new Moon Knight character and a whole new avatar or whatever. That's different.
It's different. I wouldn't be upset by it though because he is a character who passes on the mantle, so it's fine.
Right.
And then nobody ever dies in comics anyway, unless you're Uncle
Yeah.
Ben. Uncle Ben is the only character.
Yep.
So I'm going to stick with it, of course, but I like the mystery right now. And what happened in the latest issue is really cool. The way they kind of make it clear this is probably not Mark was a great idea.
Yeah.
I don't know if everyone's going to read it, so I'm not going to spoil it since it's fairly new, but it's a good way to do it. And unexpected, too. I thought there would be like a mask river, like, look, it's not him. They ripped off the mask, but no, they do something else.
Scooby-Doo ending.
Right, like a Scooby-Doo kind of thing. It was Mr. Spectre all along. It's not. It's not. So. I read that.
Did you get to Ultimate Spider-Man #2?
I meant to earlier, and I started reading the new issue of Zorro first.
Yes.
And not even going to exaggerate, I had to take a nap. So I stopped reading the book in the middle. I took the nap, and I didn't go back yet. So
that's the end of that chapter.
It's been a long day. It's been a long day. I will get back to that. I was enjoying the book, but I couldn't finish it at the time. And Ultimate Spider-Man 2 is at the top of my list to get to this week, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, I was going to read that first myself, so I was like, well, that's probably easier to read. It's probably quicker. So I'll do that first. But it's really wordy, which is fine.
Sure.
But Spider-Man's coming next. I think that covers my reads for the last 2 weeks. I didn't get to Beneath the Trees.
You still didn't read it yet?
No, I haven't got to it yet.
Oh my god!
I think I missed Kill Your Darlings too, which kind of hurts me.
That was this past week, I think.
Yeah, I need to catch up on my indie stuff. It's that damn Batman.
He's always getting in the way of things.
He is. So that was what I read. How about you?
Yeah. So aside from Wonder Woman 6, I didn't read Zorro yet, but I have the physical copy. I'll probably get some books this week. The book that I read was it last week or the week? Oh yeah, it was last week. The Six Fingers, which is the companion story to I can't remember the book now, but the Rom V book.
The Hand.
Yeah, something about the hand. It's not the hand. What the hell?
The Hand that rocks the cradle.
Yeah, shut up.
Buffalo Bob's hand.
Yeah, Buffalo Bob is actually. I don't know. I can't remember what it's the companion to, but it's the idea where Ron V's writing the story from the detective. That's it. The One Hand. Hey, Chris, you're pretty close.
I was close.
You are. Good job. Yeah. So the One Hand is the one about the cop, and the Six Fingers is the one about the criminal. I didn't like the Six Fingers as much as I like the One Hand. Six Fingers is written by Dan Waters. Also, the art is different as well. I believe the artist on Six Fingers it's not the same. So I almost wish the art was the same, but that's almost just kind of harsh on the artist to do that much work. What the hell?
Chris has been in the wrong saunas, I think. If he's
Yeah, I think you're on the wrong stream too, Chris.
I
Yeah,
have
so
more in Spider-Man deck now.
yeah, so the Six Fingers, it was good. I liked it. I liked there's a small, tiny crossover from a page that's in the one hand and then the Six Fingers, which is kind of cool to see the relation there. Yeah, it was okay though. But I'm going to keep reading just for the story. I'm interested to see how it unfolds as it goes forward. Yeah. But yeah, and I don't think that was it. Much else that I read. I
The
have some
Ron
more
V
stuff.
book is really making the rounds.
What's that?
The Ron V stuff is really making the rounds,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's an extremely popular writer when he's not writing Batman stuff.
That's happens to a lot of people sometimes.
I think once you just do these characters, you get stuck. Well, I don't even know if stuck is the right word, but you have to write in their sort of criteria, and it kind of puts some shackles on you, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've seen a lot of writers. Like Titan, I think is the best example. I
Yeah.
love his stuff outside of Batman, which is something I never thought I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's why
maybe
we want
Ron
to
B is
go
one
back
of those.
and read it too. We want to go see if we were wrong about Joker War.
And I will. Ron B is another one. Like his detective, I think I want to go back and read it because I've only read, I want to say up to the first arc. And I keep hearing after that first arc, it really took off.
Yep.
So, one day. But I'm glad you're liking that Six Fingers book. I want to check that out too, and I should do it before I get too far behind.
I was going to say, you do it now before you get too far behind.
Can you read just one of the books though, or do you have to read both?
Yeah, no, you can read just the Six Fingers, or you can read. As far as I know, I'll have to find out after the one hand number 2 comes out if there's something in the Six Fingers number 1 that is in relation to them. But you can read Six Fingers number 1 and not read the one hand number 1.
Okay.
So
cool.
Yeah.
This is a cool comment. Chris, they're talking about Ultimate Spider-Man 2. Him and Ian both loved it. Saying his hope in Spidey is renewed at the moment. I'm seeing so many people feel that way about Ultimate Spider-Man.
In comics, you mean?
Yeah.
Is that because what's been going on before that has just been not good?
That's what I've heard. I've heard a lot of people don't like the other ongoings.
Right. Yeah. Well, what is the Amazing Spider-Man? Is that
that's the ongoing? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I've seen so many people really into the Ultimate Spider-Man book. Myself included.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man's like Batman over there for Marvel. They got like 3 books a week. So
Spider-Man and X-Men are like the Batman of Marvel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff, though, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at for this week coming up. There's the Amazing Spider-Man. There's Miles Morales Spider-Man. There's a Carnage book. There's a Spider-Punk book. There's a Venom book. There's a lot of Spider-Man related. Yeah, a lot of Spider-Man related comics coming out every week from Marvel.
Is there a Madam Web book?
It as well. Yeah, I don't know.
There should be.
Should there?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Carry on. All right. So what'd you watch over the last little while?
That's actually what I spent most of my time doing. Considering I was sick for most of the last 2 weeks.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, I have consumed a lot of media. I did see Madam Web. I don't have anything to add that nobody else has said already. I thought it was terrible. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's pretty close to god awful. But like I've seen a lot of people, it's the worst thing ever. Your eyes will bleed. I'm like, no. Not for me. I mean, I have The Room. I think. What's that movie? The movie. Have you ever seen The Spirit with Gabriel Mock, Scarlett Johansson?
Yeah, and Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah.
That. Yeah, he's in it. Unfortunately, I think that is probably one of the worst movies I've ever witnessed.
I've heard that too. My friend has watched that. He said that.
It's really, really bad. I would at least watch Madam Web again if I had to.
Interesting.
Not that I want to, but if a circumstance came up where like, oh, you have to watch it, like, okay.
Yeah. If you're in a torture chamber and those 2 movies are the choices, you would choose Madam Web.
What kind of torture chamber is that, though?
Yeah, a rough one.
You must watch The Spirit or Madam Web.
That's right.
Do I get
We'll
a
get you
snack?
to talk.
Do I get a snack with one of those?
Yeah, no popcorn.
Oh, then no, I'm already out. I'm done. So I watched that. I watched the slasher Thanksgiving.
Hmm.
Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I watched it sometime in December. I think I did.
Did you? Okay, I don't remember.
Hmm.
Um, I really like Thanksgiving. The funny thing about it though is it had, I guess it's because of Eli Roth, it has this feeling like it was made in 1983,
Yep.
and I really appreciate that because I
Mm.
think now like newer horror films and slashers are always trying to reinvent the wheel, do something new, be classier or whatever. This doesn't care.
Hmm.
This is going to give you these gory kills that don't even make sense most of the time.
Right.
Like the lady's face getting stuck to the fridge was amazing. I loved it.
Hmm.
So I was there for the violence. And the story is as goofy as you'd expect from a slasher of that old time period.
Hmm.
The cast does their job. I didn't realize one of them was a TikTok star.
Which one?
I don't remember her name, but she was the girlfriend of the jock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
she's a TikTok star. So I actually thought she was fine in this movie, though. I don't know if I would put in like Killers of the Flower Moon or something, but she was fine here. Hmm? Who knows? Killers of the Flower Moon, the sequel, more killers.
So I agree with everything that you're saying. I agree with everything you just said about that movie, but instead of you liking it, I did not like it. I did not like the over the top
This
kills
is
and
probably why I don't remember us talking about it.
yeah.
You
I
might
think
not
I
have.
yeah, I think I said I watched it and you hadn't watched it yet, so I just moved on with my life. But
Yeah, that's probably what it was.
yeah, I didn't, and I like it feels like a B horror movie to me. Like I said, from 1980, whatever. I didn't find any enjoyment in that type of horror. But I understand exactly what you're saying, and I understand why people had such a great time with it. But that one was just not for me.
I think the only real issue I had with it is the way it gets wrapped up is oddly, it's really fast and kind of nonsensical in a way. Like the sequence of events.
Right.
Like we escape,
Like,
we
yeah, I'm trying to think like when Patrick Dempsey like I forget where they are. Are they in the police station or they're in
had,
where she
they're
starts the main girl starts to put it all together?
they're in the police station, I think.
Police station, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how the characters get from A to B so quickly, and some other stuff happens.
Yeah.
It gets wacky, but
Uh-huh.
it fits with the theme of the. It's called Thanksgiving. He's wearing a John Carver mask.
Yeah, I like that too. I like that aspect of it, and that's was something that that made me want to watch it. Like the costume looked kind of cool, and like I'm okay with over the top deaths as well, but I didn't like the characters. I didn't like any of their acting, and I just thought over and over again, a lot of it didn't make sense to me.
It's like a Friday the 13th movie.
Sure.
Cookie loved Thanksgiving, so I
Mhm.
saw she watched it, and our buddy Phil Walsh also loves it.
Yeah, Phil
Uh,
Walsh loves it.
yeah,
Like,
and so when
yeah,
I realized it was true, I was like, oh, I have to watch it too because I want to be one of the
sure.
cool kids.
Yeah,
And I think we're all in agreement that it is pretty awesome.
you guys are all the cool kids for sure.
Yes, we're the cool kids, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know. Um, Ian says, I saw Madam Web a couple of days ago. It was more confusing for me as I still can't figure out why it was made. That was green lit. That's another thing that I really don't understand it. But from what
Hmm.
I did hear, the script went through a lot of changes.
Hmm.
Um, I rewatched Mission Impossible Fallout, which I haven't seen in a while. No, not Fallout. Rogue Nation.
Is that the one with the building or the one
The one with the
with the
plane
swimming? Oh, the plane, right?
and the swimming.
Plane and the
It had
swimming.
both.
Got
Plane
it.
swimming.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
Hmm.
The two big ones though were Killers of the Flower Moon, which I know you've seen,
Hmm.
and The Iron Claw.
Mm.
Those were both excellent films. I thought. Did you like Killers of the Flower Moon? Because I know we've been waiting to talk about it.
Yeah. So I watched it. It feels like 3-4 weeks ago now. It's an amazingly put together film. The acting
Mm-hmm.
is incredible. The even the cinematography is incredible. I think the story is a very important story to tell. And one, if you didn't know that it was real life going into the movie and then were told afterwards that it was real life, should shock you, like beyond belief, that this stuff actually happened. In saying all that, there is not a moment of joy in this movie. There is nothing that made me feel good about watching this movie. From obviously the story, what happens with Molly's character, what happens with fucking Leo's character, any of the white people in this movie. There, I found no joy in this movie. It didn't make me feel good, and it's probably not supposed to make me feel good. But for a movie that was, 600 hours long and took me a month to watch, it's not something I want to think about or consider watching again. But again, it's the craft of the movie is incredible. Yeah, that's all I can say about that. Really, what do you think?
Um, I so I liked it a lot. I thought it was a great movie. I really did. But I'm also with you that I don't need to watch it again.
Yeah.
This is not one of his films that I will rewatch often at all. I'm kind of just like, this was a one and done.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of stuff in it that's kind of hard to watch in a way. And it's just a beast of a film.
Speaking of a beast,
yeah. Phoebe is being an issue right now.
No worries.
But yeah, it's a good. The performance is really good too. Something I saw people talking about, and I agree with, is that they make Ernest really sympathetic. And the thing, what he's doing in the movie is not sympathetic at all.
He's a very interesting character in this movie.
I would say he's even more complex than maybe people give him credit for in the movie.
100%.
But he's also doing horrible things, and we're kind of like pointed to like him in some way or feel sympathy for him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a case of sympathy for the devil. Are we like? I don't know how sympathetic I could really be for you at the end of this movie.
Yeah,
like you're in tears and you're groveling, but like you did the stuff.
That's right. You killed her sisters, and you're killing her.
And knowingly, and like just because you didn't ask, but you knew what it was doing. You saw it.
100%.
You made the choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. There's a lot about it that I thought was weird in that regard, but it makes for an entertaining movie. So.
Yeah, I thought Robert De Niro was incredible in the movie as well. I really thought he did some really, really fine work as his like straight up villain character, which I thought was an interesting thing for him as well.
And I didn't realize he was I didn't realize that's what it was at first.
Yeah, and well, in my thing, from the trailer that I saw or that I remember seeing, I didn't see it from the point of view that Leo was a villain or that was a bad person, and that Robert De Niro was a bad person either. I didn't put the two and two together from the trailer. Maybe I didn't pay that much attention to the trailer. So then watching it happen, I'm like, oh, why is like Bob De Niro's like evil, and he's like the ringleader for all these horrible white people stealing all the natives' money and all that kind of stuff. Like, this is quite the turn and the surprise for me. You think of Robert De Niro, he does the like straight up villain, like evil person that you really dislike is not one of his, not one of the things he does the most or very much in his, IMDb.
He's kind of hard to dislike, even though like they put him as like as horrible mobster characters.
Sure.
He's still hard to dislike because it's Robert De Niro. Even here, I actually found it hard to dislike him. And really, the opening conversation between him and Ernest is probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie. I think it's wildly entertaining for some reason. I don't know, it reminds me of a scene from Wolf of Wall Street. That's probably why. But yeah, I thought that too. Ian says, I agree. Great movie from an objective point of view, but not one I returned to because it was heavy with no joy. Yeah. There is.
And it's tough. Like, it's not supposed to be. And like, I'm thinking about a couple of weeks ago, we were on, it doesn't matter, but watching Schindler's List. Like, there's no joy in the movie, but if you watch that movie, there are things in the movie, in the way that things are shot, like even like the opening scene, or kind of the opening scene where Oscar goes to a party with a whole bunch of Nazis and he kind of swoons them, and there's music and there's laughing and there's, pretty women and all this kind of stuff, and the way it's shot is very different. And then other times where there's the one-armed Jewish guy who comes to thank Schindler, and Schindler is like questioning, like, why is he working here? He has one arm, and there's still like there's very small moments of little bits of joy in obviously a very horrible movie.
Mm-hmm.
But with Killers of the Flower Moon, I think there's literally none. Like, I don't think there's a single moment where I like cracked a smile or thought
I
something
had
was.
moments like that.
Did you?
And not doing the horrible things, of course, unless
Sure.
I thought, oh, that's some awesome violence. But no,
Right.
there was no, like per se that first scene, the conversation. I think there was joy there. It was just kind of fun.
Sure.
The early interaction between Ernest and
in the car.
Yeah, in the car stuff, that was fun.
Sure.
There was something. I think there was things sprinkled out throughout. It's just that the subject material is so heavy, and the fact that it's real. And this is the lighter version of what happened.
I can assume so, yeah.
Yeah, this is apparently the lighter version. And the book is actually from the point of view of the FBI agent played by Jesse Plemons.
Yeah.
Which is what the movie was originally going to be until they decided, no, let's put it from the community perspective. So that's an interesting switch, too. I actually would have preferred this movie was broken up as a series into 4 episodes.
100% could have been an Apple TV
series. It feels more like a series combined than it does a movie, which is rare to see, I think. But it is what it is, and I did enjoy it. Just not something like Goodfellas is a 3-hour movie. I will watch start to finish whenever I see it on. Wolf of Wall Street is kind of the same thing. Most Martin Scorsese movies I will do that with. This is one that I think I'll pass.
Yeah, and like I said, the length of the movie is one of the reasons why it's hard to watch, but I think it's the content of that 3 hours. Like, I'm thinking about like Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer's on streaming. It's actually on Amazon Prime here. I can't wait to watch that movie again. I can't wait to spend 3 hours watching that movie again. So it's not necessarily just the time, but it's the content inside that time. That's just it's a difficult one. But again, the craft of it is so good. Like, Marty hasn't lost it. Marty's still one of the best.
He doesn't miss.
Exactly. So yeah, it's a tough one. Tough on both sides.
I kind of hope he stops messing with streamers because I think they're letting him do too much in Hawaii.
Yeah, the Irishman, and then this. Yeah,
it's like you can reel it in a little bit. We love you, but you're getting to a point where it's becoming excessive.
Yeah, I would agree.
Like, have you ever seen Alexander with Colin Farrell?
No, I haven't seen that.
That's another movie I don't like at all, but there's like 5 cuts of it because the director just can't stop.
Oliver Stone, yeah, he's another one.
And each one is longer than the last cut, and the movie is already too long. And it's one of those that makes me question the actors in it because I like everybody, and I was like, man, do I really like them to watch this?
Wait a second. Am I being tricked here?
Colin, we're cool, but I don't know if we're cool with this. I don't think we are. So, but yeah, it's interesting watch, I would say, either way. And I do recommend Killers of the Flower Moon.
That's the other thing too. I highly recommend watching this movie, particularly again because of the content and the story. Like, if people don't know the story, they should know the story. It's not something I knew about before even the trailer came in. I'm like, wait a second, the story like this has never been done before. Like, obviously a story about the tragedies against the native people has been done. But this type of story with the oil built into it and that kind of thing, I think it's a very, very important story.
And it's funny you said that you were kind of misled by the trailer because I was too. I thought it was a completely different kind of movie. I actually thought it was the white people helping the Indians kill other white people.
Ah, interesting.
So I think I was completely off with every trailer I watched for it. Ian says Alexander is so bad except for a certain Rosario Dawson scene. No, it's all bad. It is all bad. Yeah, so I watched that. And like I said, The Iron Claw, which that one, that's another hard one to watch. But if you already know the story of the Von Erich family, you know what to expect going into it, which I did.
Mm-hmm.
So I was okay with what happens in it, but the ending still hits a certain way because the way the film is structured.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's meant to hit you all at once. So it's a very sad film, but I also think it's one of the best films from last year. And I just got to it. I meant to see it last year, but it came around Christmas.
Yeah, you were hoping to go see it in theater for a while. I
I
remember.
was, but the month of December is just chaos.
Yeah.
Especially when it's the week of Christmas. Like when this came
Mm-hmm.
out the 22nd, like I can't do it.
Nope.
I have a lot of other stuff going on, so this went by the
Mm-hmm.
wayside. But I'm glad I finally got to check it out. One thing I want to mention about it is uh, I'm not incredibly familiar with Zac Efron. Like when he was doing the Disney stuff, I'd never seen any of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first time I'd actually seen him in anything was that movie 17 again with Matthew Perry,
Mm.
and he's not really in it a lot either. But that's or is yeah no he is in it. It's Matthew Perry's not in it. Never mind. But anyway,
Mm.
that was the first thing I'd really seen him in, and after that it was like Baywatch, Greatest Showman, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. I
And
don't
I
think
like.
I've ever seen a movie with Zac Efron in it.
Oh, you haven't seen anything? Like not
I don't
even.
think so.
I thought you'd seen Greatest Showman. No.
Nope.
Oh, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
He sings in it. He's pretty good.
I'm sure he does.
He's pretty good in it. But my point, I liked him in the stuff I'd seen him in, but I just thought, okay, he's a cool guy. That's really where we'll leave it. But
Right.
in this is a really good actor. He's like really talented.
Nice.
He surprised me in this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the dedication he had to the role, like he bulked up. He looks like a He-Man action figure.
I thought he was He-Man when they were
He
saying like
looks
the
like
behind the
He-Man.
scenes. I'm like, wait a second, why is he? They're making a live action He-Man story?
He's even got the dumb bowl cut. He looks like
Yeah.
the cartoon come to life. It's amazing the dedication he has in this movie. And the guy from the Bears in it, is it Jeremy Allen White? That's his name.
That's it. Yep.
He's really good in it too. But I think people expect him to be good, so I
Sure.
wasn't really surprised by that. Zac Efron was a surprise for me. Not only is he the size of He-Man, but he's really good. And I know they're making the He-Man movie. They should probably watch Iron Claw and say, "Hey, let's get Zac Efron."
Just jump right over from your set. From one
Or
set
stick
to the
him
other.
as the new Wolverine. I'm happy either way.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'd also recommend that if you feel like crying your eyes out.
Yeah, I've been telling you for 2 weeks that I've been trying to watch this movie, and I said I was going to do it last 2 Fridays ago, and I just couldn't get to it. And like you said, the subject matter I wasn't prepared for. So I'm going to try and watch it this week for sure. We'll see if I can make that happen though.
Ian says Efron deserves some award nominations for that movie. Yeah, I don't know why nobody's really talking about him. He's very impressive.
Well, the movie in general too. I don't think it got much.
I kind of think it's the content of it. It's
Like
really
wrestling
dark.
content, or
Wrestling. It's really dark. It's really sad.
yeah.
There's not even a lot of actors in it. It's a very small cast. But I really think it's worth watching.
Nice.
Just be
I'll
prepared.
get to it.
It's okay. You get to when you need to. Definitely not a pick me up, but
Definitely
get to it. Aside from some old shows and series, that's all I've been watching.
Mm-hmm. Did you watch all of the episode 2 of Young Sheldon, or have you just seen the first one?
Oh no, I watched both. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Me too. I think it's an interesting season so far.
It is. I'm liking it.
Sheldon and Mary over in Germany, and Missy kind of running things. It's interesting.
It's fun, yeah, and I like the what they're doing with Sheldon not being the smartest person around anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That is fun because we don't even really see that in Big Bang Theory.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a cool transition. Oh, did you watch the True Detective finale?
I did indeed.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing about Young Sheldon I'm liking right now is it feels like we're building toward the finale naturally. Like the end of it.
Yeah.
Like you could tell this is the beginning of the end.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming the whole season will be spent in Germany, and then he comes home, and things happen.
Yeah, I like that the idea of Missy like being the more motherly figure now, because I think she eventually takes that role over when George dies, and then the stuff with Georgie and
Mandy.
Mandy. That's as soon as Mandy got introduced to the show, her and Georgie are my favorite part of the show. And that's why I'm so happy that they're making a spinoff from them. But I think they play off each other very well. I think it's a lot of fun. And the scene where George and Mandy's dad go to the grocery store and they give her the Slim Jim. Give her a Slim Jim to suck on. It's like, idiots. I thought that was so funny.
Sometimes you do what you gotta do when the kids cry in the grocery store.
Trust me, I know. Do whatever you have to do.
Yeah, it happens.
Why is she so gassy?
It happens. Yeah. On to a different topic, a sadder topic. True Detective. What did you think of the finale?
I liked 95% of the finale.
Okay.
I wish that the show would have decided what kind of show it wanted to be.
Oh, before we get, I want to talk spoilers. So anybody who's watching,
yes,
we're going to talk spoilers for True Detective's finale.
Okay. I agree. I wish they either went full supernatural and ghost story, or full crime realistic show, because they teased and teased and teased the supernatural horror ghost stuff, and then by the end of it, it was just a mob basically that killed all these scientists and made them walk into the ice. And we got like and one of the things I liked so much about the series was the spiritual supernatural stuff. The the natives from Alaska, and the stuff. I did like that stuff. I liked the stuff with Navarro's sister. I liked the stuff with what's her name in the cabin, Rose. I liked all that stuff that kind of felt a little bit otherworldly, and all that kind of stuff. And everything about hearing voices and everything like that. So that was my problem. Is they should have picked one. And because by the very end of it, it felt like they just ditched all that stuff. And then they tried to blend some of it back in again with the Navarro leaving and not leaving. And if she's dead, she's not dead. I didn't like how specifically the final episode was just a little bit too much. That's all. It just, I didn't like that they didn't pick a lane. I wish they would have picked a lane.
I like that we had two lanes going on, because you could hop on whatever lane you wanted. I thought it was cool. And Cookie has a point. The mob didn't kill them. They were killed supernaturally, according to the women. That is correct.
How?
Supernaturally.
How?
The monster in the...
There is no monster. It wasn't a monster. Don't know it's just a whale skeleton.
They left them there, and that's what happened.
I see that I'm not. I don't buy that aspect of it, because they teased that supernatural stuff, but then by the end of it, they didn't show it to us what actually happened.
Yeah, I prefer that they didn't show it though.
What's that?
I prefer that they didn't show it. I like that it's ambiguous.
Like, yeah, okay. I didn't like the ambiguous nature to it. I either make it a crime story about the oil, about the the women taking back their town, their city. That would be great, but I just didn't like that the spiritual and supernatural stuff being mixed in there, when I didn't think by the end of the season and by the end of that episode that it was fully fleshed out and made total sense to me.
I think that maybe they could have handled it better, but this was my first introduction to True Detective.
Sure.
So what I expected this to be is kind of what it turned out to be, in a way. Because I thought True Detective was all about like hard-boiled crime stuff, like vicious crimes and things like that. And so when I saw the supernatural stuff at the start, I was like, oh, okay, this is more in my wheelhouse. This is cool. Right. And then as it kept going, like, oh, wait a minute, no, it's starting to feel more realistic. And then the finale gives you that kind of ambiguous trade-off. Where, yeah, you could just believe the women did it, or you could think, hey, something else happened. Because there is no explanation for certain aspects they introduce, like the tongue. That's never talked about.
No.
Don't know why it's there. And there was a couple other things. And then there is the people who see stuff. Like Ian mentioned here, Why use Rust's father? I don't know. I think that's Matthew McConaughey, right?
That's correct.
Why use Rust's father? Why include
Rose's husband?
Who's the Tuttle family?
They're the creepy ass, like churchy people that are behind all of these kids getting kidnapped in season 1, and then in the new season they're behind the scientists. What's the place called? Ishmael or Salal Ishmael Salal scientists as well.
There's a shit cloud coming.
Yeah.
What was the spiral cult reference? How did the Native American women know about the star-shaped drill bit? So many plot holes. So I think the spiral thing is something they're going to continue. I think that might be, like, I understand that was introduced in the first season, so I think that's something they want to pick up and run with now.
That's my thought as well. It's just kind of a thread from season to season for the True Detective thing.
Yeah, I think it's just a way to connect them. Even though it's anthology, I think it's a way to say, hey, we are one.
Yeah. And I agree with that, but I also don't understand why that is the case either. I don't understand what one has to do with the other.
I have no frame of reference. They went from what I know of Matthew McConaughey to Officer Navarro. So it wasn't really, I don't get it. But the original season 1 creator didn't like it. He didn't like that they used his ideas, but misunderstood what he was going for. Just felt like they lacked original ideas. I've noticed that the original creator seems to hate everything.
Too bad for him. He doesn't own the show, so shut up.
It seems like they hate everything, and they actually hired the showrunner for this season to come back. So I'm actually excited for that.
Well, apparently it did gangbusters. Like the views and the watches.
It was the most watched.
Yeah.
The finale though is also one of the lowest rated. So you're not alone in not like the finale.
Yeah, well, it's so hard to wrap up a show. Like I was surprised this was only 6 episodes.
What's the Yellow King?
Yeah, that's from season 1.
Oh, okay.
You need to watch season 1. You really do.
I will. I'm going to. I'm probably going to start this week. I've just been consuming 6 Feet Under again.
Oh, you poor bastard.
I love Arthur. He's awesome. But sorry. Yeah, the creator coming back I think is cool. But I guess nobody likes the season 1 references. Cookie's not a fan of it either.
They're just forced. It just felt forced in a lot of time. Yeah.
To me, they were just talking. I gotta watch it.
Yeah, well, and that's an interesting aspect to it as well. Like, if you don't understand the references, then they're just talking, and it can carry on with your life.
Like, I didn't know that was supposed to be the father.
Right.
I thought that was like her ex-husband or something, or just a random dude hanging out in the spirit world, wanted to chit chat. I don't know. I wasn't really clear on that.
Just a little chit chat.
Yeah, hey, are you home? Something like that. I don't know. I liked it a lot, though. I thought the finale was really well done. I don't really have many issues with it at all. Like I said, the ambiguous nature works for me. But, my complaint through all 6 episodes, and I think you're right, I would have liked if it was longer. But you and I talked about this. I didn't like either of the main characters.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe by the end of it I would. I didn't. The characters I liked were the young cop and his dad.
Yeah, sure.
I thought they were cool. I thought the bar owner, whose name I can't pronounce, Quavik.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, Kovic, that's it.
Kovic, the SpongeBob toothbrush guy. I thought he was great. But the 2 leads, not having it.
Yeah, well, it's particularly in the final episode where they make so many weird, stupid decisions. It's like, what are you idiots do? Like, for me, like they go into that tunnel and then they fall, and just like they keep going, and then by the end of it they're yelling at each other, and then stupid idiots go walking on the ice, and then Jodie Foster falls in the water, and then she changes her mind about being mad, and then she wants to hear what her son said, and blah blah blah. I didn't like any of the choices that they made in the final episode.
That's actually another thing. Like, why did they tease this kid throughout? Why couldn't they give us any kind of concrete information about this kid?
And all he says is, "I see you." Cool.
Like, that was the big reveal.
Yeah, big reveal.
You turned a Pepsi into a Coke. That was your big thing. He says, "I like them because I got to go, oh, I know this," but then they did nothing for the story.
Exactly.
Is that how it was? Okay. I can understand that. Quavik.
It's Kovic, yeah.
Okay. He was cool.
Mm-hmm.
The townspeople, I think, all were really cool. Just the two main characters just didn't work for me. I don't know.
Yeah, Jodie Foster did not work for me at all. I like Navarro more than you did throughout the entirety of the series.
I
Um,
like Navarro's motivation and stuff.
I would agree with that.
I just didn't like the way the character was. Something about it. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I think they had like two rough characters
Mm.
together. I think that was the problem for me.
That can be hard. Yeah, you got to have a good cop, bad cop type of deal.
Yeah, there was no good cop. They were both just angry cop.
Yeah.
I needed slightly less angry cop and
Mm-hmm.
angry cop, maybe.
That's right. Just tone down a bit.
Yeah, it's got a lot of views because the first season is loved. I think the references had people theorizing. I watched loads of YouTube breakdowns, got super invested in it, then got no answers, felt cheated. I don't know. I didn't look for anything, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't look for anything either, even loving season 1. So I didn't feel cheated in any way. I just felt like they didn't hit the landing.
He says, I love that Navarro found her native name. That was my favorite part of the finale. That was really cool. And I think that, so, the show made a point to say that the dead kind of speak to the living, and we don't know if that's happening or not. Mm-hmm. But then you get this moment, and to me, that kind of puts a stamp on it. Like, yes, the supernatural stuff is happening. Now,
Mm-hmm.
how much of it is happening, that's probably up in the air.
Sure.
But that was great. I really, really did like that too.
Mm-hmm.
That was a cool thing.
Fair enough.
I'm curious where the next season is. Like, I'm assuming it's not going to be these two because that's not how the show works.
It shouldn't be. It hasn't happened up until this point, so it should be just another story altogether.
Is there a team you would like to see? Because I've seen a lot of people start picking teams.
I think they started doing that after season 1 as well. No, I can't think of anything. I wonder if they do all female again, or if they switch it up and do male female or male male.
Male female might be fun,
or just do female female and see if they keep that going. And I'm interested in the setting as well because I think season 1 was kind of the South. Season 2, I can't remember where it was. California, I think maybe. Season 3 I didn't watch, and then obviously this one's in Alaska, so it'll be interesting to see where they go from here.
They kind of go around the U.S., I suppose. Maybe like something on the East Coast, New York or something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they get the cast of SVU to do it.
Yeah, that's right. Just make it Law and Order.
I would watch that. I mean, either way, I watch the old, I say old ones, but the first season. I really want to watch some with Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
I got to get to that one, so I'll be watching.
Well, they're not that many episodes, so you should be able to rattle off a season in a couple of days.
I don't know. I kind of slow watch things unless like it's something I have to finish.
Sure.
Or I like in the case of 6 Feet Under, I'm taking my time with it. Oh, I didn't know Steven Dorff is in the show. Is he actually good in it though? Because I think I've discovered, this is my own preference, I only like him as Deacon Frost. Because off the top of my head, I can't think of anything else he's in that I've seen that I was like, oh, okay, Steven Dorff is cool in this.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm curious. Is he actually good in season 3? Or is it just because he's there? Because he is, I guess he is kind of fun, though. He's always got that certain attitude.
He's got attitude, that's for sure.
Oh, he is pretty good. Okay. Okay. I'm looking forward to it.
Nice.
So I guess this is Ian's ranking 1, 4, 3, and 2. Yeah, everybody seems to hate 2, but I'm excited.
Yeah, 2 is not the best, but Colin Farrell, I think, is incredible in it.
And Vince Vaughn,
is
right?
in a lot of things. What's that?
Yeah,
Vince Vaughn. Yeah, it doesn't feel right. And it's got Rachel McAdams in it and Taylor Kitsch. Or Critch.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm. He's
That's
not bad. But, yeah. I think Colin Farrell's great.
Cookie also agrees with that ranking. Do you have a ranking?
That would be mine as well, having not seen 3. So
okay. So 2 is that bad? You can
2 is bad. I can assume that 3 isn't worse than 2. I just assume that. Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of more excited now.
And 1 is incredible. It's one of the best pieces of TV. What is it? A special, an anthology, whatever that I've ever seen. So.
Well, if I wasn't watching Walking Dead tonight, I'd start that.
Are you watching that?
Yeah, I want to watch this Rick and Michonne thing.
Mm-hmm. Rick and Michonne, yeah.
I think it'll be interesting.
Nice.
Anybody else watching that?
I don't know who watches Walking Dead anymore. Lots of people, I assume.
Who watches The Watchmen?
Who watches The Watchmen?
Speaking of AMC shows, just gonna throw this one in there. There was a new clip of Interview with the Vampire released. Did you see it?
No, I didn't. When was that? Today or?
Yester Friday.
Yester Friday.
Yester Friday, I think. That was cool. It's like a 2-minute clip. You see some of Louis and the new Claudia, which is the highlight for me. You see some of
Nice.
Armand, Louis, and David, or Daniel. Sorry.
Nice.
Pretty cool stuff. We're getting closer. I also signed up for this thing. It popped up in my timeline. AMC. What the hell is this called? AMC Popular Culturist. It's some kind of program they're doing. I signed up for it. I don't know what it does or what it's for. Maybe I'll get some cool Interview with the Vampire stuff.
Let's hope you do.
If I don't, that's fine, but I'd really like it. How about a nice cup of Liberty, Emmet? What is that?
I don't know. I thought it was Liberty.
Is it Liberty?
I don't know. What is it?
I read it as Liberty.
What are you talking about, sir? Something from Starship Troopers or something?
Daniel is sassy as ever. Daniel is sassy.
I love sassy Daniel. That's what I want.
He's looking pretty sassy at this one in this clip. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, thanks.
I think that covers True Detective, though.
Let's catch up on anything else?
No, that was it. Just a lot of 6 Feet Under.
Nice.
I think we're in season 4 somewhere.
Oh, you're cooking.
It's a Helldivers 2 quote everyone uses. Oh, is it? I don't know. I usually have my sound off when we're playing. It's just a bunch of screaming anyway. So.
Yeah, just aliens screeching and guns.
Although I will mention this. I didn't know. So Ian and I played this game the other night, and it reminded me of a scene from Cable Guy. You could play Mortal Kombat with a friend in Japan or something like that. I played Helldivers with a friend in Japan. But anyway, you can have. I didn't know you can have the character scream something. So Ian's character kept screaming, and I thought that was just the game doing it, but apparently it was him, and that kind of made it better.
Is he screaming Liberty?
No, something like that. No, I think it's something for Special Earth is what it says. Something.
Okay.
It's pretty funny. Anyway, that was it. I didn't catch anything else.
Nice.
There's time for that this week.
Always time for that.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Orion and the Dark today.
Oh, yeah.
That kids movie, animated movie on Netflix. I loved it.
Did you?
Yes, I watched it by myself. I didn't watch it with my kid or and my family or any which way, and I had a great time with it. The animation is really enjoyable to look at. The voice cast is great. We talked about Paul Walter Hauser. It's got Angela Bassett in it, Jacob Tremblay. The voice cast is great, but the story, and we also talked about this. Charlie Kaufman is the one who wrote it, who wrote Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, adaptation, all those things. So it's not point A to B to C. It's A, B, C, Z, back to D. It kind of goes all over the place, which is very interesting. And I think if you are a kid watching this movie, I'll be interested. Chris, if you watch this with Zoe, or I ever show it to my kid, what they think of the not straight through line story. So I found that quite interesting for me, kind of the imagination to the story as well, the way the story is told. But the idea of the story about, facing your fears, about being okay, being lost in the dark, about how the dark is okay and safe, and the light and the happiness is not everything that makes the world turn. You need dark in your life. You need light and dark to work together. So I love that aspect of it. There you go. Thank you, Ian. Because it's like a guy, the story starts out as a kid telling a story. Then I don't know. Should I ruin it for you, Chris?
Well, I'm going to watch it. You could ruin a little bit, though.
No, I'm not going to ruin it for you. Anyway, the story jumps kind of all over the place a little bit. And the last 10 minutes of the movie feel like a completely different movie, which is very interesting. So, yeah, I had a great time with Orion and the Dark. This is one I will watch again, and definitely want to watch it again with my son, because it's an interesting story about, as he's 11 years old, Orion is. It's just about facing your fears, and being okay with being afraid, which is always something I have fun dealing with. And I think my son, a lot of kids nowadays have a fear of failing, and it's an interesting story in that aspect of it. So I love Orion in the Dark. I'm so glad that I watched it. I'm glad that Chris, you recommended it or brought it up to me to watch. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's something that's been on my list for I think a couple of weeks. It's been out for a couple of weeks. I've been wanting to watch it, just haven't got to it. It looks really cool though.
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of good stuff about it.
Yeah, really, really dug it. There could be a sequel, I think, if they did it in a certain way. The way those last 10 minutes definitely could be a sequel from that, but it's very interesting.
It's from DreamWorks, right?
Can't remember if I saw the kid fishing off the moon or not at the start of the movie, but
I know it's like one of the. I think it's one of the bigger animation houses.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it looks cool. I'm going to get to it.
Yeah, so highly recommend that, Chris. Give it a watch. That was it for my watches, though, too, aside from the ones we already talked about. So.
Yeah, it's on my. I think I might get to it this week, depending on how much time I have, because this week it's Dune week for me.
Yeah, when are you going?
Thursday.
Nice.
Thursday, and in between now and then, I also want to see Tenet, which is returned to IMAX for this week only.
Nice.
I'd really like to catch that, and I want to see Drive Away Dolls, but it's probably not going to happen. So
is that the one with one of the Coens directed and read it, and it's got Margaret Qualley? Is that her name?
Yeah, and Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, that looks like tons of fun. Yeah,
it does. So that's on my list, but I don't know if I'll get to it. I mean, Tenet's 1 week only, so I have a time limit.
Sure.
That's kind of the thing, and then Dune. Dune is a priority. If all else fails, I see Dune.
Yes.
So that's kind of how my week's going to go.
Nice. Well, Chris, let people know where they can find you. Let's get on out of here.
If you guys want to follow me, if that's your thing, it's that Chris70 on Twitter. You can also follow the other podcast I do with my buddies Phil Walsh and Anthony Caruso over at over at DC Unlimited Pod. And as always, I would love it if you'd follow this show at G of the Geeks on Twitter. Emmett will take over because he is more coherent with the rest of the plugs.
Oh, that's trouble if you're saying I'm more coherent. I tell you. Okay, you can follow me on Twitter at EmmettDavis7. Gathering of the Geeks, it's available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. You just got to search for Gathering of the Geeks and you'll find us right there. Thank you, Cookie, Eric, Ian. I think that was 3.
Chris was with
Chris
us.
from Lost in Comics. Yes. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for watching on this fine Sunday evening. Have a great week, and we'll catch you next week. So in saying all that, for Chris, I'm Emmett, and we gather on Sundays.
Have a great week, guys.